Hello, everyone. This is day 2 of my reading everyday journey to improve my speaking abilities and my brain in general. So, here we go. 30 minutes. Let me get it started. I didn't even start it. Oh my gosh. Come on, Isaiah. Lucky. Alright. 30 minutes starting now. Here we go. An Actor's Handbook, Konstantin Stanislavski. Here we go. Attention, concentration. Creativeness is first of all the complete concentration of the entire nature of the actor. At one of the performances given by a visiting star, I felt the presence of the creative mood in his playing, the freedom of his muscles in conjunction with a great general concentration. His attention was on the stage, and the stage alone. An actor must have a point of attention, and this must be in the auditorium. The more attractive the object, the more it will concentrate the attention. In real life, there are always objects that fix our attention, but conditions in the theater are different and interfere with an actor's living normally, so that an effort to fix attention becomes necessary, to learn anew to look at things on stage and to see them. Intensive observation of an object naturally arouses a desire to do something with it. To do something with it in turn intensifies your observation of it. The mutual inner reaction establishes a strong contact with the object of your attention. In watching the acting of great artists, their creative inspiration is always bound up with their concentration of attention. When an actor's attention is not turned towards the spectators, he acquires a special hold on them, forcing them to participate. Actively in his artistic life. The actor who has the trained habit can limit his attention with a circle of attention. He can concentrate on whatever enters that circle, and with only half an ear can listen to what transpires outside of it. He can even narrow the circle to produce a state we may call public solitude. This circle of attention is usually flexible. It can be enlarged or shrunk by the actor in accordance with whatever must be included of the purposes of the stage action. Inside the limits of the circle, there is an immediate and central object of attention. Creativeness on the stage, whether during the preparation of the part or during its repeated performance, demands complete concentration of all the actor's physical and inner nature, the participation of all his physical and inner faculties. Concentrated sensory attention. To grasp your object firmly when you are acting, you need another type of attention, which causes an emotional reaction. You must have something which will interest you in the object of your attention and serve to set in motion your whole creative apparatus. It is, of course, not necessary to endow every object with an imaginary life, but you should be sensitive to its influence on you. Imagined circumstances can transform the object itself and heighten the reaction of your emotions to it. You must learn to transfigure an object from something which is coldly reasoned or intellectual in quality into something which is warmly felt. We actors have come to call this sensory attention. It is peculiarly valuable in the creative work of preparing the life of a human spirit in a role. Imaginary objects of attention. Inner attention centers on things we see, hear, and touch, and feel in imaginary circumstances. We see such images with inner vision. The same is true of our sense of hearing, smell, and touch and taste. This abstract life contributes an unending source of material for our inner concentration of attention, but imaginary objects demand an even far more disciplined power of attention. Use the exercises developed for imagination, as they are equally effective for concentrating attention. Physical attention. Your physical attention has been drawn to the movement of energy along a network of muscles. This same kind of attention should be fixed on ferreting out points of pressure in the process of relaxing our muscles. What is a muscular pressure or spasm except moving energy that is blocked? It is important that your attention move in constant company with the current of energy, because this helps create an unbroken line which is essential to our art. Concentrated attention and creative material. At the bottom of every process of obtaining creative material is emotion, feeling, however, does not replace an immense amount of work in the part of your intellects. After you have learned how to observe life around you and draw on it for your work, you will turn to the living emotional material on which your main creativeness is based. Impressions from direct, personal intercourse with other human beings. Many invisible spiritual experiences are reflected in our facial expression, in our eyes, voice, speech, gestures. But even so, it is no easy thing to sense another's inmost being, because people do not often open the doors of their souls. When the inner world of someone becomes clear to you through his acts, thoughts, impulses, follow his actions closely and study the conditions in which he finds himself. Here we are dealing with the most delicate type of concentration and attention with the powers of observation, which are subconscious to their origin. As you progress, you will learn more and more ways in which to stimulate your subconscious selves and to draw them into your creative process. But it must be admitted that we cannot reduce this study of the inner life of other human beings to scientific technique. Do not look with a cold analytical eye or carry a pencil in your hand. Do not be a cold observer of another's life, but let your study raise your own creative temperature. After prolonged, penetrating observation and study, an actor acquires excellent creative material. An actor prepares, building a character. Audience. The more the actor wishes to amuse his audience, the more the audience will sit back in comfort waiting to be amused. But as soon as the actor stops being concerned with his audience, the latter begins to watch the actor. It is especially so when the actor is occupied in something serious and interesting. Only true acting can completely absorb an audience, making it not only understand but participate emotionally in all that is transpiring on the stage. Thus, being enriched by inner experience will not be erased by time. To act without an audience is the same as singing in a room without any resonance. To act before a full and responsive audience is like singing in a hall with excellent acoustics. The audience provides our spiritual acoustics, like a sounding board or returning to us living human emotions. The point is not in the power of an effect, but in its quality. It is not the purpose of an actor to make a fleeting impression on the audience. It is much more valuable to have a quiet audience, which will receive a lasting imprint. New methods of creativeness have produced new playwrights and a new kind of audience, which knows not only how to look and be entertained in the theater, but also how to listen, feel, and reflect on what it sees. These new spectators do not expect writing or acting which is merely external effective in external plot and action. They look for deep feelings and great thoughts. Thus, the audience is a creative participant in the performance of a play. Ballet. Ballet is a beautiful art, but it is not for us dramatic artists. We need something else. We need something plasticity, other grace, another rhythm, another set of gestures, another manner of walking, another method of movement. We must borrow only the amazing capacity for work and the knowledge of how to train the body from the artist of the ballet. Beats. Supposedly a mispronunciation of bits, here called units, on the part of early Russian teachers. See units. Body training. People generally do not know how to make use of the physical apparatus with which nature has endowed us. They neither know how to develop this apparatus nor keep it in order. Flabby muscles, poor posture, saggy chest. These things we see around us continually. They show insufficient training and inept of the physical instrument. Maybe a body with bulges in the wrong places, legs so spindly that their owner has to totter, shoulders hunched almost to deformity, does not matter in the ordinary life. In fact, we become so accustomed to these and other defects that we accept them as normal phenomena. But when we step on the stage, many lesser physical shortcomings attract immediate attention. The actor is scrutinized by thousands of onlookers as through a magnifying lens, unless it is intention to show a character with a physical defect, in which case he should be able to display it in just the proper degree. He should move in an easy manner, which adds to rather than distracts from the impression he creates. To do this, he must have a healthy body in good working order, capable of extraordinary control. Exercises contribute toward making your physical apparatus more mobile, flexible, expressive, and even more sensitive. Do you admire the physique of the circus strongman? Do you admire the physique of the circus strongman? For my part, I know nothing more repellent than a man with shoulders that more rightly belong on a bull, with muscles that form great Gordian knots all over him. Now you are at the crossroads. What direction will you take? Proceed along a line of muscular development and of a weightlifter, or follow the requirements of our art? Naturally, I must direct you along this latter line. We now add sculptural requirements to your gymnastic training, just as the artist with chisel seeks the right line. The beautiful proportions and the balance of the parts of the statues he creates out of stone. The teacher of gymnastics must try to achieve the same results with living bodies. There is no such ideal human structure. There is no such thing as an ideal human structure. It has to be made. To that end, one must first study the body and understand the proportions of the various parts. When the defects have been found, they must be corrected by increasing the muscular structure. A proper overall form can be established. Physical culture adapts are not natural. Their bodies are not flexible on the stage, nor do they submit to the demands of an inner life. What they convey is a coarse in artistic form. Boxing can be harsh. Sportsmen are agile only in certain movements acquired by the special type of sport in which they are engaged. Ideal physical exercises are those which remedy the insufficiencies of nature. Above all, it is desirable that no movements undertaken in the course of exercises be lacking in intent. Expressive body training includes gymnastics, dance, acrobatics, tumbling, fencing, foils, rapiers, daggers, wrestling, boxing, carriage, all the aspects of physical training. Your powers of expression as an artist will be tested to the limit by the adjustments you must make in relation to the other actors on stage. For this reason, you must give appropriate preparation to your body, face, and voice. I hope this will make you aware of the necessity of your exercises in physical culture, dancing, fencing, and voice placing. Fix my hair. Carping criticism. A nagging critic can drive an actor mad and reduce him to a state of helplessness. Search for falseness only so far as it helps you find the truth. Don't forget that the search for falseness only so far as it helps you find the truth. Don't forget that the carping critic can create more falsehood on the stage than anyone else, because the actor whom he is criticizing involuntarily ceases to pursue his right course and exaggerates truth itself to the point of it becoming false. A calm, wise, and understanding critic is the artist's best friend. He will not nag you over trifles, but will have his eye on the substance of your work. Characterization and transformation. I claim that all actors must be character actors, of course not in the sense of outer but inner characteristics. This does not mean the actor must lose his own individuality and his personality. It means that in each role he must find his individuality and his personality, but nevertheless be different in every role. As the inner characterization, it can be shaped only from an actor's own inner elements. These must be felt and chosen to fit the image of the character to be portrayed. If this is effectively prepared, the outer characterization should naturally follow. Let every actor achieve this outer characterization by using material from his own life, from that of others, real or imaginary, by using his intuition, self-observation, by studying paintings or books, or by noting accidental occurrences, in short term, every possible source. But in all this external search, an actor must never lose his own identity. Any role that does not include a real characterization will be poor, not lifelike, and the actor who cannot convey the character of the role he plays is a poor and monotonous actor. As a matter of fact, there is no person on earth who does not possess his own individual character. That is why I propose for actors to complete inner and external metamorphosis. There are There are actors and especially actresses who do not feel the need of preparing characterizations or transforming themselves into other characters because they adapt all roles to their own personal appeal. There is a great difference between searching for and choosing in oneself's emotions related to a part and altering the part to suit one's more facile resources. An actor will not give himself up wholly to his part unless it carries him away. When it does so, he becomes completely identified with it and is transformed. Characterization, when accompanied by a real transposition, a sort of reincarnation, is a great thing. Since an actor is called upon to create an image while he is on the stage, characterization becomes a necessity for all actors. In other words, all actors who are artists should make use of characterization. Charm, a capacity to transform himself, body and soul, is the prime requirement for an actor. Charm. There are certain actors who have only to step on the stage and the public is already enthralled by them. What is the basis of the fascination they exercise? It is an undefinable, intangible quality. It transforms even an actor's deficiencies into assets. Still, when they meet the same actor off the stage, even his warmest admirers are disillusioned. It is no wonder the quality is called stage and not natural charm. It is a great advantage to possess it, yet it is utmost importance that he, the actor, use this precious gift with prudence, wisdom, and modesty. Self-admiration and exhibition impair and destroy the power of charm. There are also actors who possess another variety of stage charm. They only have to put on wigs, makeup, which entirely masks their own personality, and they exercise great stage magnetism. The unlucky actor who lacks theater attractiveness influences the public against him. Yet such actors are often far much more intelligent, gifted, conspicuous about their art. Is there no method to develop a certain degree of stage charm? Only to a limited extent. It is accomplished by toning down unattractive shortcomings. It requires close observation, patience, and systematic work. One of the most important helps is habit. A spectator can become accustomed to the shortcomings of an actor, and they may even take on the aspect of certain attractiveness. We often hear people say, how such and such an actor was mellowed. To a certain extent, one may even create stage charm through the use of excellent, well-bred manner in acting, as that in itself is attractive. Art lends beauty and nobility, and whatever is beautiful and noble has the power to attract. As I grow older and think about our art, I am inclined to believe that the highest gift that nature can give an actor is stage charm. Circle of attention. Clarity. Actions must be clear like the notes of an instrument. Otherwise, the pattern of movement in a role is messy, and both its inner and outer rendering are bound to be indefinite and inartistic. The more delicate the feeling, the more it requires precision, clarity, and plastic quality of its physical expression. Clear-cut continuity, finish, these are the hallmarks either of good technique or of genuine talent. Every moment of the acting of a gifted artist is clear and truly felt. Cliche acting. For this there has been worked out a large assortment of picturesque effects which pretend to portray all sorts of feelings through external means. There are special ways of reciting a role, with declamatory vocal embellishments for expressing human passions, showing your teeth and rolling the whites of your eyes while you are jealous, tearing your hair, of imitating types peasants spitting on the floor, aristocrats play with laundrones. Some of these established cliches are passed down from generation to generation. They often rush in ahead of feeling and bar of the road. That's why an actor must protect himself most conscientiously against such devices, and this is true even of gifted actors, capable of true creativeness. The mistake of most actors is that they do not think about the action itself, but of its results. Feelings are the result of something that has gone before. As for the result, it will produce itself because of the excitement. The public character of his creative Because the excitement, the public character of his creative activity, an actor seeks to produce more emotion than he really possesses. He can exaggerate his actions pretending to express feelings, but that destroys them. The protest of his sense of truth is the best regulator at such times. Collective creativeness. Every worker in the theater, from the doorman, the ticket taker, the hat girl, the usher, all the people the public comes in contact with as they enter the theater, on up to the managers, the staff, and finally the actors themselves, they all are co-creators with the playwright. For the sake of for the sake of whose play the audience assembles, they all serve, they are all subject to the fundamental aim of our art. They all, without exception, are participants in this production. Anyone who in any degree obstructs our common effort to carry out our basic aim should be declared an undesirable member of our community. If any of the staff out front greets any member of the audience inhospitably, thereby ruining his good humor, he has struck a blow against the goal of our art. The playwright, the composer, the cast, all do their share to create the necessary atmosphere on their side of the footlights. This absolute dependence of all the workers in the theater on the ultimate aim of our art remains in force not only during performances but during rehearsals. Artists can operate successfully only under certain necessary conditions. A bad rehearsal prevents an actor from conveying the thoughts of the playwright, his main job. Communication. If order prevails and the work is properly laid out, teamwork is pleasant and fruitful. Our art is a collective enterprise in which everyone depends on everyone else. It is only an atmosphere of mutual friendship that talents can thrive. Communication. Communion. Communication with the public through your partner. If actors really mean to hold the attention of a large audience, they must make every effort to maintain an uninterrupted exchange of feelings, thought, and actions among themselves, and the inner material for this exchange should be sufficiently interesting to hold spectators. When you want to communicate with a person, you first seek out his soul, his inner world. When you speak to a person who is playing opposite you, learn to follow through until you are certain your thoughts have penetrated his subconsciousness. In turn, you must learn to take in each time afresh the words and thoughts of your partner. You must be aware today of his lines even though you have heard them repeated many times in rehearsals and performances. This connection must be made each time you act together, and this requires a great deal of concentrated attention, technique, and artistic discipline. Some think that our external visible movements are a manifestation of activity and that the inner visible acts of spiritual communion are not. Every manifestation of inner creativity is important and valuable. Therefore, learn to prize that inner communion because it is one of the important sources of action. Giving out and receiving rays. Haven't you felt in real life or on the stage in the course of mutual communion with your partner that something streamed out of you, some current from your eyes, from the end of your fingers? What name can we give those invisible currents which we use to communicate with one another? Someday these phenomena will be subject of scientific research. Meantime, let us call them rays. The absorbing of those rays is the inverse process. When we are quiescent, this process of irradiation is barely perceptible. But when we are in a highly emotional state, these rays, both given and received, become much more definite and tangible. Grasp. If you can establish a long, coherent chain of such feelings, it will eventually become so powerful that you will have achieved what we call grasp. Then your giving out and absorption of rays will be much stronger, keener, and more palpable. We actors must have that same power to seize with our eyes, ears, and all of our senses. If an actor is to listen, let him do it intently. If he is to look for something, let him really use his eyes. For a simple play, you need an ordinary grasp, but for a Shakespeare play, you have to have an absolute grasp. Grasp is what Bulldog has in his jaw. But of course, this must be done without unnecessary muscular tension. Contact with the audience. Actors may not maintain contact directly with the audience, but they must do so obliquely. The difficulty is we are in relation with our partner and simultaneously with the spectator. With the former, our contact is direct and conscious. With the latter, it is indirect and unconscious. When the spectator is present during an emotional and intellectual exchange, he is like a witness to a conversation, is excited, but the spectators can understand and indirectly participate in what goes on the stage only while intercourse continues among the actors. Speak up so you will be heard. Forget about the public and think only of your acting partners in the play. Convention. The theater and its scenery as such is a convention. It cannot be anything else. But does it follow from that the more of convention there is, the better? Is all the convention good and acceptable? There are good and bad conventions. The good may remain and even be welcome, but the bad should be destroyed. Theatricality is a convention. It is a scenic effectiveness in its best sense. All that contributes to the play and the actor's performance should be scenic. The convention that enables the actors to create life in the play and the characters on the stage is good and theatrically effective. But that life must be convincing. It cannot stem from palpable falseness. Even a lie must assume the aspect of truth to be convincing on the stage. It must seem to possess a truthful quality so that the actors and their audience can believe in this convention. Good convention should be beautiful, not just in a theatrical, dazzling way. The beautiful is that which uplifts the human of a human being on the stage and in the audience. The production may be realistic, stylized, modernistic, naturalistic, impressionistic, futuristic. It makes no difference providing it is convincing and true or true-seeming, beautiful in the sense that it is artistic, uplifting, and creative in the sense that it produces the true life of a human spirit without there being no art. Without which there can be no art. Conventions which do not fulfill these requirements are bad. Copying. There is the director of exceptional talent who shows the actors how to play their parts. The more gifted his demonstrations, the deeper impression he makes. The greater the actor's enslavement. Having seen the brilliant handling of his part, the actor will wish to play it just as he has seen it demonstrated. He will never be able to get away from the impression he has received. He will be compelled awkwardly to imitate the model. After such a demonstration, an actor is shorn of freedom in his own opinion about his role. Let every actor produce what he can and not chase after what is beyond his creative powers. Core. Costumes and accessories. When you have created even one role, you know how necessary an actor's wig, beard, costume, props all are to his creation of an image. Only he who has traveled the difficult path of achieving a physical form for the character he is to play can understand the significance of each detail. The makeup and accessories. A costume or an object appropriate to a stage figure ceases to be a simple material thing. It acquires a kind of santicity for an actor. One famous actor said that he was not to act in one of his ordinary suits. He would take it off on arriving on the theater and hang it up. When his makeup was on and it was time for his entrance, he would put it on again. But it was no longer an ordinary suit. It was converted into the outer mantle of the character he was playing. This is an important psychological moment, and you can tell a true artist by his attitudes towards his costume and properties. An actor must know how to put on and wear a costume. He must know the costume's manners of the times, the ways of greeting people, the use of fan, sword, cane, hat, handkerchief. He can only do all of this when he feels himself in his part, and his part in himself. Counteraction. Every action meets with a reaction, which in turn intensifies the first. In every play, besides the main action, we find its opposite concentration. This is fortunate because its inevitable results in more action. We need that clash of purposes and all the problems to be solved that grow out of them. They cause activity, which is the basis of our art. Creating the inner life of a role. The fundamental aim of our art is the creation of this life of a human spirit and its expression in artistic form. That is why we begin by thinking about the inner side of a role and how to create its spiritual life through the internal process of living a part. It is only when an actor feels that his inner and outer life on the stage is flowing naturally and normally that the deeper sources of his subconscious gently open, and from them come feelings. Since we do not understand this governing power, we actors call it simply nature. The creative process of living and experiencing a part is an organic one, founded on the physical and spiritual laws governing the nature of man.
Hey!
Looks like that's it. Alrighty. It's 1:28, 30 minutes. Just got done. Alrighty. I'll see you guys on day 3. Thank you so much.